Allow the children
It's okay. Off your mic. It's okay. Off your mic.
Chai! Now wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, my ego don't come. Him go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. And in the touchlight every corner, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Nah. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Sure. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My people make we shout, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. My ego diary politico, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. This one not the off in mind, oh, yo. My ego don't come, oh, yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my egun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my egun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my egun don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. My people make you shout, oh, yo. My egun don't come, oh, yo. Man of the masses, my ego don't come, my ego diary politico.
Hello there, once again.
My ego la wamo, la moto do.
My ego diary, my ego number one.
Ayekula wa mo, amo to do.
Thank you so much for joining me once again today. If you have been with me earlier, anyway. So good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun live.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Máyégún máa wí.
I am the general overseer of the Temple of Truth. That is more kind of enough, right? No one to be anybody's president. Share this broadcast because the effects called the ESCOBAT effects are beginning to take shape. Read the caption of the broadcast. Read the description as well. I mean, share it if you haven't already. Like the broadcast, and then sit back and relax. At some point, you will be able to call in and share your views.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube, Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́.
Over Ilorin is still very much raging.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Àyè ìṣúra yìí. Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Àyè ìṣúra yìí. Gómìnà gbówó jẹ. Àyè ìṣúra yìí. Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá. Àyè ìṣúra yìí. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Àyè ìṣúra yìí. Òkúra olóṣèlú. Àyè ìṣúra yìí.
Thank you, far too kind.
Pẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùnra yìí. Àyè ìṣúra yìí.
Thank you. Once again, good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. And you're welcome to the Temple of Truth. And this is Mayegun Live. If you have read the caption of the broadcasts, especially if you are watching it live, it's quite interesting to watch it live than to watch the replay. Either way, the conversation will start from the new announcement, which they have not been able to actually give reasons. Now, here is the backstory. In December 2022, Hadi Sirika, the fraudulent aviation minister of Nigeria, the famous Kama of the now RIP Nigeria Air, Hadi Sirika, signed a deal with one of these nice, beautiful African countries that is mostly tourist destination in Africa, so to say, Seychelles Island. Now, Nigeria signed a deal with them, and that was to allow the airlines from Seychelles, right, to be able to, and other airlines too, to be able to fly directly to Seychelles. It was kind of, economic sort of breakthrough for those who are plying their trades along that route, mostly Nigerians who want to go and spend money. Okay? But there are other backstories. Seychelles Island, or Seychelles, right? They have been faced with the pandemic of drug dealers. I'm talking about intercontinental drug runners. So recently, just sometimes in February or March 2023, there were some Nigerians arrested and caught with drugs. But that contract of, or should I say that agreement of December was still very much active until this month. And what happened? Seychelles Island, or Seychelles, happened to be a country that actually allows Nigerians with your green passports to travel to. Because when you get there, that is when they are going to give you your visa. It is visa on arrival. You know, that kind of, they know you are just coming to spend money. Okay? So when you get to their country, you can buy tickets and say you are going to Seychelles with your green passport, Nigeria passport. As bad as, the passport is kind of is among other passports. It is still one of the destinations. I mean, they say Nigerian passport can travel to 40 countries. 40 countries. Most of them, you will get your visa on arrival. Okay? As bad as they want to tag Nigeria, they are still allowed that. But that number is shrinking. The conditions are changing. And immediately after the last charade and swearing in of Kolu, people who have been kind of choosing destinations here and there can tell you, right, that most of these destinations, most of these countries are beginning to change what used to be their rules. Now they are like changing them to match what they consider the Nigeria of a drug dealer or drug lord. Remember when people said, or when we were saying then that it is not just about, um, choosing a leader for Nigeria. In fact, it is so crucial at this point in time to be very careful, because the effect of whoever become your president will not be limited to those who are living in Nigeria. It will be beyond, far, far beyond the shores of Nigeria. Consequences of, bad leadership, so to say. But no explanation. A young man who is a travel blogger, I believe, right, kind of got his visa rejected. Now, like I said, Seychelles is a place where you can just buy the ticket and travel to. So you don't really need to apply for visa. Okay? But now somebody got a reply back and he said, the message was, we regret to inform you that your application has been declined as per immigration regulation. For now, we are not accepting any Nigerian passport holder for holiday purposes. Kindly contact blah, 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 Seychelles Immigration. Okay? And if you would like to speak to us about this decision, you can reply to this email or speak directly to an agent using live chat. And there is actually a live chat plugged under that. Okay? Now, this is strange for those who are like regular frequent flyers, travel, vloggers and all of them, travel bloggers, you know what I mean? Who actually, in this day and time, you see all these content creators, right? All over Africa. And some of them they are currently campaigning for a sort of a borderless Africa. You know what I mean? Where young Africans can actually travel all over Africa without any immigration constraints, kind of. That's to tell you that a lot of them want to really explore Africa, okay? And a lot of them are actually exploring Africa. Now, if you are a travel blogger from Nigeria, like your contemporaries from other African countries, now you would have to be faced with the reality that having a drug lord as your president in that Nigeria, there are other places, other countries that believe that a lot of us are going to end up as either mules, drug smugglers, or we are running away from the consequences of the state capture. And that is about to happen in Nigeria. So to get ready, they will be preparing and changing their own immigration law, visit and the rest of that. Some of you will be like, it is their loss. Of course, it will be their loss. And to them, it is a way of kind of, a caution of, we don't know how this is going to be. We want to be careful with these people, Nigerians. And they said it clearly. Okay, people contacted them. Like, what's going on? How could you say you ban Nigeria passport holder? They didn't say they ban Nigerians per se, or isn't that like banning Nigerians? Okay, they ban Nigerians from coming to their country. Okay, because the passports that actually will identify you for who you are or where you are from, in this instance, will be your passport, Abby. So if you go to Seychelles and you are like, you identify as African American with your American passport, you'll be able to go there. If you identify as any other person, from any other country, apart from Nigeria, even if you are a Nigerian, all they are saying is that if you flash that green passport, you are not welcome. And people contacted them. Is it true that you ban Nigerians from coming to your country? Could you give us the reasons? I said, yes, it is true. But we don't have any further information than that. That at the appropriate time, they will make a statement on it. And this is Nigeria. We are talking about Nigeria here. Some people will tell you, in fact, let me actually tell you this. In in Africa, eh, Nigerians are well known for a lot of good reasons. Okay, of course, there are other reasons that will make other African countries be skeptical of Nigerians. Of course, however, generally Nigerians are very, very popular in Africa. But one thing that Nigerians seems to have everywhere we go is like we are very loud, and then somehow we kind of feel like we are the most advanced people, the most this or that in Africa. And other African countries are like, you don't even portray that. You don't even portray anything that will make us jealous of number one, your size or your prosperity. This is the Achilles heel for most Nigerians. And generally, when other African countries come for Nigeria, you will see Nigerians kind of united to ward them off, to fight them off and all of that, right? But when it comes to Nigerians themselves on this same global square, that the whole world is so connected. Everybody sees what is going on everywhere, including the type of conversation we are having. So when it comes to Nigerians among themselves, other African countries, they know about the division, they know about the hatred, they know about the corruption, they know about almost everything about Nigeria. And in most cases, they actually feel sorry for Nigeria and Nigerians. Why did I say that? It's not because they are far better or anything, no. They see proud people who believe that they have almost everything that should make them kind of really, really, really powerful and superior. Okay? But when they meet these Nigerians and all of that, they see industrious people that got chased away from a country. And to some of them, they're like, you couldn't love Nigeria and a lot of you are not in Nigeria, which is always kind of, like I said, Achilles heel of so many of us. You have the loud mouth, you think you are intelligent, but you are being ruled by the old, haggard, corrupt criminals. Okay? So if you are Nigerian and you think you have opinion about the rest of Africa, yeah? So the moment they start telling you how much you don't have any, then you begin to feel like, So in, what do you call it? In Africa, a lot of them see Nigeria far, far more than how many Nigerians would publicly agree or accept that the world actually knows everything about Nigeria. So when the election of 2023 was going to happen, I can tell you this, the rest of Africa was interested. They watched how you made mess of a simple process, something that could be a role model, kind of a model for other Africans, something that can actually make you feel that you're bragging right. So they saw all of the details about the aspirant or candidates, right? They witnessed it all. So immediately, INEC announced Kolu. It was like all hell let loose on social media when other Africans were mocking and laughing at Nigeria and Nigerians. It was like even so many Nigerians had to agree with them, like, it's okay, we don't have anything to fight back on this. Indeed, we are done for. But that is the banter that you could easily just feel like, well, that's it. But behind the scene, the rest of Africa that don't really have what Nigeria have. Are you with me? Everything. They are now rearranging their laws as they are getting report from Nigeria. And they know that a lot of us will have to find a way to run away from Nigeria. They know that. And somehow, like people have been saying, if Nigeria should start, if any war should break out in Nigeria, the, what do you call it? The influx, or let's say the inflow of refugees from Nigeria. Think about it. Nigeria with the population of how many? 200 million people. Some of these African countries, as big as some of them are, could barely boast of, 100 million population. Now imagine a country, some of them with population of 10 million, 12 million, 22 million, 15 million, and then they are receiving millions of refugees from Nigeria, directly or indirectly, people say, right? It won't stop in Africa. It will even expand and extend even to America, refugees from Nigeria, right? But before war, there is already ongoing war, hunger war, poverty war. The giant of Africa has become the crippled giant, the burden. Nigeria has become the burden of Africa. So if a small country like Seychelles will say, keep your money and keep your drugs, don't come here. It is just the start, okay? Others won't tell you not to come, okay? But you yourself will see the conditions that they will give before you can even like cross the border, to the point that you just have to stay there. A lot of them will give money to Nigerian government to ensure that you don't have a chance of living. You will stay there. And for those who want to, right, you will see why you can't. And all of these are because the world knows the effect of what you have done in Nigeria. You don't have to tell yourselves the truth. Everybody will feel it. All right? Maybe not everybody is prepared, but some people are more prepared. So yeah, green passports. Nigeria green passports is no longer welcomed in Seychelles. How many other countries are going to tell you same soon? I'll leave that to you. Let's go to something next. Do you know that an average soldier in Nigeria is paid 150,000 naira? Do you? Now, my direct question to you is this. Would you lay down your life for 150,000 naira or 2 million naira annually and whatever other things that comes with it for Nigeria? Would you? There is this argument or a sort of heated conversation around this subject, okay? That if you look at the sacrifice that is expected of anyone who signed up, right, to be whether a soldier or a policeman, somebody who signed up to defend the country, your country, like you kind of heard about the Americans and how they treat their own, what I mean, right? So would you sign up, right, to lay down your lives for Nigeria for 150,000 naira? Others are saying, right, it is not about the money. And I'm like, okay, but you will need that money too to keep your family running, right, as a soldier. And at the same time, if you have to die, then something must be in store for your family, if you have one that you are leaving behind. Things that will say, I may not need the money. I may not kind of, you know what I mean? But I've got people, I've got family. So they started talking about what they are earning. It is even worse and ridiculous. When I say averagely, that's just in between. People are paid, soldiers in Nigeria are paid as little as 120,000 naira, 95,000 naira. And most of the time, they don't even get paid in time. And here is other thing as well. You know, they say if you sign up to join the military, at the same time, you would need you have a choice of where in that military you want to kind of go to. Medical, you know, a combat, or I don't know, all those kind of, you can choose. You can join the military, right? And never have to carry a gun, okay? But one thing about the military service is that during the time of war, okay, everybody will be drafted. Almost everybody will be drafted to the war front. Nigeria is not fighting war. But do you know, or officially declared that they are fighting? Nigeria is not officially fighting any war, right? But behind the scene, Nigeria is fighting the jihadists, the terrorists in Nigeria. We have read news, we have seen news of mutilated bodies of Nigerian soldiers. We have heard news and we have seen news with evidence of Nigerian soldiers killed by terrorists, being buried in shallow graves, mass grave, no real military honor or anything. We have seen all of this, okay? But they say in the last 7-8 years, the practice is you will join the military, Nigerian military. You get to join the training. Now, from your training of maybe after 3 weeks or a month, right? The next thing, they're going to draft you straight to the war front. And that war front is to go and fight either Fulani terrorist or you should go and fight Boko Haram terrorist. There was no chance of them having to choose since Nigeria is not at war. And if Nigeria is at war, okay, then that should be officially declared. So everyone who is going to be drafted, if you voluntarily join the military, you can be drafted with those conditions spelled out. You can get killed, and that should happen to you. These are your insurance. They don't have that in Nigeria. A lot of them who join the military because of poverty, because of unemployment. Okay? I mean, of course, people sometimes, you see, we have seen where, even in America, there are people who are running away from something terrible they have done. They quickly go and sign up and join the military so that they can get shipped out of America. And somehow, that can even get, that crime can even get pushed aside if it probably does well. So we have seen that, or we have seen people who have joined because they joined the military in the US because they feel like that's how to face their demon, by just being somewhere, engaging in, for different reasons. But mainly, majority of those who join some of this world army that I've actually read about, the American army or the American military, or what you call it, majority joined because they believe joining the military gives them the chance to defend America. And according to them, once you join the military, you will defend America's enemies, both local and foreign. And that is what they use in justifying shipping all their soldiers outside America, because they believe that the enemies that are after America, they are both within and without. Everything is clearly stated. The family members of everyone joining the military in the US, they know what they are signing up for. They know what will happen if something like so should happen to their loved one. In Nigeria, all these are not clearly spelled. The families of these soldiers, majority of them will just receive the news that their young sons have been drafted to go and face Boko Haram after finishing the military college, whatever training. Okay? They are drafted like that. A lot of them have been killed for this reason. Their families are not even informed for this same reason, right? A lot of them died for not even understanding what they died for. Did they die for trying to partake in the fight set up by the same jihadists in government in Nigeria? Or did they fight? Or did they die because they are defending the integrity of Nigeria? A lot of them will know why they died. A lot of them still won't know why they would die in this instance. But talking about what exactly will make you, right, say, I am signing up for this to put down my life in defense of Nigeria. I haven't seen much of those who actually join Nigeria military. I'm not saying there are not people who join the military because they actually believe that you know what I mean? That this is what they want to do to defend Nigeria, like patriotically, passionately. A lot of them who did join because of this are possibly finding out now that it is not all straight line. In fact, you will be fighting a battle within Nigeria. This battle you are fighting is not in the interest of Nigeria. It is to protect the interest of those who don't actually love Nigeria. But what do you have to do? You obey the last command. You obey the last order. A lot of them have figured this out, that the patriotism that made them join is indeed false. Then we have those who joined because they can't find any job. These kind of Nigerians are much, much, much plenty in the Nigeria police and other paramilitary. No real patriotic whatever. But if you are being paid something to provide security, you are being paid peanuts to provide security, put your life on the line for other or ordinary Nigerians. Do you now see, when I ask that question of would you put your life on the line with a 2 million naira annual pay as a Nigerian soldier? You see, in America, right? Even here in the UK, if we hear that people are shooting guns there, you will see the I don't know what name they will give to them, anti-riot or anti-gun or anti-something, full gear. When they land, even you, who is part of those who are shooting or whatever, you will know that if you are alive after this operation, you are lucky. You will likely be dead, as those ones are already taking position and all that, trying to control the whole situation. You will be seeing the helicopter surveilling, checking and making sure that the security the security net that they have dropped on that area will make it easier to evacuate those who are civilians in case if things should go out of hand. If they figure out that this group of people who are shooting these guns, they have more sophisticated weapons, that is more or less like war machines, they will bring another set of security men. Now, you see all these people they will be bringing, all of them will be rushing and running down to a place that the bomb is exploding. They will be rushing down to where you are hearing because they know, number one, if they are trained to handle such situation. Number two, they are also trained that things could go bad and they could lose their life. Were they ready to lose their life in curtailing and containing terrorists who have the capacity to wreak havoc? Of course, yes. What about their families? They also know the risk of the job they have taken, Abi. And they also know that for any reason, anything happened to their breadwinner or their member of their family, okay, the family of that person will be treated with honor, respect, and care for the rest of their lives. So, why won't you want to put your life on the line for such? But in Nigeria, where a military officer in Nigeria is earning 150 pounds in a month, and this person is earning 2,000 pounds, at least 2,000 pounds in a year. and he has to go and face deadly, dreaded terrorists that is making billions from kidnapping and killing the civilian, including the military themselves. So why am I saying all of this? I'm just trying to point something out to you. That when they said they were increasing the salaries of the public office officials in Nigeria, they increased the salaries, or should I say, the retirement emolument and package for service chiefs. They increased the salaries of the judges by 114%. They increased the salaries of your governors, president, and the rest of them by 114%. Because according to them, it is to bring their kind of financial sort of cover in tune with the current reality, the hardship in Nigeria. They need this too to be able to survive in Nigeria of today. But guess what? The people that are expected to keep you and I safe, the ones that are expected to keep Nigeria safe from terrorists, police and the rest, those who are supposed to cover, or should I say, those who are supposed to prevent a crime before they happen, right? They are not part of their increment. So which means we are in the hands of those that are already suffering from the PTSD of saying they want to protect you, Nigerians. So it's easier for them to unleash all this rage and what have you on people. Then when this conversation popped up, a lot of people were so surprised. Like, were they paid that little? Is it true that they paid them that little? Is that even true? Are you saying that there is no, to be a soldier in Nigeria, you don't earn up to ₦1 million? I was like, come on, are you the wine us? A soldier being paid ₦1 million a month, which is just £1,000 or 1,000, 200-300 or $1,400. So if you pay them less, and then they give you back the security or the brutality instead of security, the same value of the shege in the end of these robes, right? You might as well kind of, I mean, this will kind of lead back to, is that not why they didn't SARS? Is this not the reason why people wanted them to, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, it is. I was just like, man, when the soldiers they started telling their own stories, telling their stories of how they have been kind of treated as soldiers in Nigeria. In fact, a lot of people felt like it's like Nigeria doesn't even have military, except for that, all those display, this marching, all those drumming, all those fluting, and all those, there's actually no real military, no kind of morale anywhere. The whole money that they have kind of invested in this military, this defense darts, they've ended up not in the welfare of those that they told you are so ready to keep you safe. Now, no wonder nowhere is safe. But I just thought that if you have family in the military, and somehow this story somehow resonates, some of you have not heard from your relative for months now. They told you that they have deployed them, and where they are, they can't really call. But they used to call. A lot of them that they told that if you go to the war front, you go there for 6 months or 3 months, they will take you back and they will take another set of people. Some of them have been at that war front, no salary, no good food, no real good weapons, so to say, right? Nothing, and they have been there for 2 years. They were not returned. And there are some of you who are members, or let me say, relatives of soldiers in Nigeria. You haven't heard from them a long time. I'm not trying to rattle you or anything. No, sure you get. Just thought that if you have never actually thought about this, maybe you should. Now, is it really worth it? And do these criminals really care? You have DSS that used to be called Daura Secret Service. Remember? Now they have now kind of turned to Dokpemu stupid service. Okay? Depends on how you want to see it. Now, during the time of Bokwari, Daura Secret Service became the tool in the hand of Bokwari to hunt everyone saying anything about Bokwari. I mean, you remember this not too long ago time, If you say something about Bokwari or you say something about Bokwari's family, DSS will track you. They will find you. And within days, we'll begin to see hashtag free Mayegun, hashtag free species, now can you come? Hashtag free Mayegun now. How did they get Mayegun? How did they see him? Is he in Nigeria? No, it is DSS. They found a way and they don't take Mayegun because of what Mayegun said about. That was yeah? And then there are those who have received the invitation of Daura Secret Service back then too, who received that, right? And they were warned based on their utterances, based on whatever they said or their views about Bokwari's government. But there's one thing that Daura Secret Service couldn't do, their real mandate. Then, Daura Secret Service mandate was to discover and stop a crime before they happen. So let me explain that to you. Anybody that is part of DSS, okay, is trained to be a spy. Do you understand? Their full name, their real name is State Secret Service. They have the most sophisticated espionage tools that you can think of. But you see that Daura Secret Service, they are supposed to be like the FBI or CIA, or MI6, or the Contras of, I don't know where they come from, but I've heard that name before. Is that Canada, I don't know. Anyway, they were supposed to be special secret police. They are supposed to be, you won't even know them that they work for DSS. Secret police. They may be working as shoemaker. They may be working as storekeepers. They may be working as a postman. They may be working as journalists. They are like the supposed Nigeria spy house. Somebody said NIA is the spy, whatever. They have different, all these mushroom, shady, courts, rogue security agents. Their job on paper is to discover a crime before they happen. So if I am here now texting you, hello, see, have you purchased those weapons? Have you bought those granates? The operation starts at 22:00 on the so and so. Their job is to decode, hack your phone, hack anything secretly. Sure you get? They will secretly go to court, and they will obtain search warrants. The warrant to do anything they want to do. They can obtain the warrant before or after. Like, they are so secret that if they don't tell you what they are doing, you will never know they exist. That's their mandate too. But that's not exactly what they are doing. In Nigeria, the secret agents, the security agents, and the rest of them, their loyalty is to the person and the group of people in power. Because those who are going to kind of lead those organizations, they are political appointees. Do you understand that? This was supposed to be like special secret police, Abi, and they should have the rank and file within them. No. Somebody to become the leader of, to become the director of DSS, his loyalty is to the man that is going to appoint him, the president. And before you can get appointed by the president, there are other interest groups that are going to push your case because they have their own agenda too. Do you understand that? So once they make you the director, you are just like a dog, whose whistle is in the hand of his master. So their loyalty is not to Nigeria. And that is why they expend so much resources and time, spying on Nigerians who are trying to who are criticizing the government, or for any reason, organizing any rally or protest against the government. So they have put them on high alert. Any group of people, any conversation, anyone that raises a red flag that is concerning for the president or the president's people, the DSS will track them down and try and have a word with them. Now, Yari is another criminal from Zamfara. He ruled Zamfara, and he also ruined Zamfara. He looted Zamfara, but is one of those lucky criminals. He belongs to APC, Egbekegbe. Being member of APC, Egbekegbe, with so much money. He has so much money from the poorest Zamfara states. This guy has so much money. Enough that when he returned back to the Senate in Nigeria, he decided to run for the Senate presidency. Right? He wants to be the Senate president. But the arrangement was that everything is Muslim. So they needed a Christian to mix it. So we can't have another Muslim. So he started mingling with the PDP, seeing how much, Akpabiole, a former PDP member, who also have his friends as senators too. So the battle it was a game of number then. And guess who was giving Tinubu headache? Yari. Now, a lot of people are thinking that, does it even make sense? Does it make any sense that DSS arrested Yari because he insulted Tinubu? How did he insult Tinubu? Some were like, that doesn't make any sense. Of course. Oh, that's fake news. No, it's just this unfounded rumor. Whatever you want to see it as, okay? But here is something. Why would DSS arrest Yari, and Yari people are pointing fingers at Kolu Tinubu? I saw it with my eyes. And if you're looking for that, they were pointing fingers and they said, Tinubu is trying to punish Yari because when they were campaigning to choose who will be the Senate presidency of Nigeria, Akpabiole is the anointed candidate of Kolu. And you see those APC, Egbekegbe Adamu, they said that wasn't what the party chose. But Kolu has decided anyone who is not on the line or who failed to join the queue is declaring himself as an enemy. So from what we heard, they said on the night before the election of or selection of Akpabiole, Yari was actually sharing 100 million naira each, 100 million, 100 to a group of senators who assured him that they would vote for him against the directive of Kolu. They said when Kolu and his people heard this, Kolu himself put a call through to Yari, and Yari didn't pick the call. But not just that he didn't pick the call. It was what he said in the presence of the people that he ignored Tinubu's call. Something like, see him, he's calling me. He's calling me now. Probably you think he can just tell me or bribe me not to run and become the Senate president. And they laughed about it. Okay? And something that felt like mocking Tinubu, like, he's calling me. Why is he calling me? This one has called me. That one has called me. And I know why they are calling me. No, there's no going back. That was kind of taken. The move to arrest Yari also came from, I'm going to tell you something quickly. Did you read that news when they said that Daura or Dokwemu Stupid Service, DSS, has invaded EFCC, ICPC, and any other agency that has investigated Tinubu or investigating him, whether in the past or now, whatever, that they have carted away every document, any document at all, that is related to anything Tinubu, Alpha Beta, or Tinubu's family, their businesses and all of that, in their custody, that they have carted all of this away. ICPC came out and said, no, it's not true. No document has been carted away from us. In fact, we don't have any investigation on Tinubu or documents. And you know that when they deny, especially when they deny something, Baba, it is true. At least from my own experience, when something happened and you say it and they tell you it's fake news, then they come out to say it's a lie. No, it's not true. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. It is true. Okay? But Kolu, the drug lord, one of the most investigated criminals in Nigeria, who has been able to buy his way up to this point, is now in charge. All the documents on Obasanjo's corruption, Tinubu have all of them now. All the documents on Atiku's corruption, everything is with Tinubu right now. All of the past present state governors in Nigeria and all of their shady deals, Tinubu have everything right now. Sure you get. And as it is one of the things that makes Nigeria president one of the most powerful person on earth. Like Nigeria president is more and more powerful in Nigeria as Nigeria president than American president in America. Do you understand that comparison, right? Anybody who is Nigeria president, anybody called Nigeria president is like above everything. And at that point, he has everything at his beck and call, right? To do anything with anyone and get away with it. And you'll be wondering, where are the good people? Where are all of the good people who used to talk? We cannot hear from this again. We don't hear from that again. Because they can't talk. The person you want them to talk about has all the compromise on them. All he has to do is to just call anybody and just release some of them. And then you begin to be open. Now I'm ready. Want to fight. And say, I didn't know that Obasanjo caused that much damages, Sha. I didn't know that Buhari is that evil, Sha. And you see, did you see all the... So, the likes of Yari, who have bags and baggages of corruption, and they are hiding inside APC, Egbekegbe, where they are protected and they are loot. So, when you challenge the emperor that knows how you looted Zamfara, the emperor that knows your dealings with those you are giving money to, either for terrorism or for other reasons, where you keep all your loot, those who are keeping them for you, he has everything on his table. Everything. So he's talking to you. You dare not pick his call. You thief. DSS, carry him. Is it not the same DSS that told us that Emefiole is sponsoring terrorism? How long do you think it takes to tell Yari that, listen, this is ESCOBAT, Pablo? Gone are the days where una one day flex that northern cabal, northern this and that. Listen, you will be jailed for terrorism, for corruption, and we will release all this to the same people you think will defend you. Abi, tell me, why do you think DSS arrested and later released Yari? There are other reports saying that during the Bokwari's second term in 2019, which was also the time that Yari was, running to replace himself. That was when he was going to the Senate and he was governor of second term. They said 41 billion naira of Nigeria money was given to Yari as part of Bokwari's 2019 re-election. They said Yari swallowed the money and damned the consequences. So it is now Tinubu that is using the DSS, not EFCC, to go after Yari. And that is why those who said, no, it's not because of that money. Of course, they will use that money to tell him that, sure, you won't go jail. Sure, you won't disgrace you. Don't try any nonsense. This is Kolu. You know well, oh. Don't try that nonsense again, oh. We know you stole this and that, oh. Okay? That's when that makes sense. That it's because Kolu called Yari not to contest against Akpabiole. Yari dared him and he contested. From the results, it was a very tight race. In fact, it would have been another Bukola Saraki and the Nomela Yekeneri, just like it was in 2015, yeah? So they are. Meanwhile, Yari people are saying, Tinubu is playing with fire. I said, right. Playing with fire. I have told you, it won't cost these people. When they finally have something that is called legitimacy from the court, for example, if the court says Obi and Atifku cannot prove that Tinubu rigged, and they say Tinubu should continue, Baba, Shetima fit disappear. The last 8 years has made a lot of us believe that these jihadists, they are so, they are so corny and they are so patient, and the way they are waiting for the day that they are going to overrun Yoruba land and all that kind of thing, right? That Tinubu, they may find Tinubu, and then it will be Shetima. And I said, go and read about Tinubu. I'm not saying they are not like they are targeting themselves. So, but if you understand what power anyone they call Nigeria president actually holds, and if you ever have a situation when you become that president and you have legitimacy problem where people are saying you didn't win, those who rig for you are trying to blackmail you as well. That, listen, if you try any nonsense, we go show you. So you will push him to that state of desperation, okay? And you will find out Shetima fit disappear. I'm not saying it will disappear. You are dealing with the Lord and his group. And if they figure out that indeed these guys are going to rock the boat, well, you can write it down. Shetima fit disappear. And you go to wonder where that Boko Haram sympathizer that you believe will take over from Kolu. I'm not saying it will, though. I'm just saying that if things get so kind of tensed up that way, and you box Kolu to that desperation side, unfortunately, if he should escape the courts, everybody should get ready, including those who believe that they sort of helped him, okay? And I'm talking about the northern elites. Now, from when I go start first. Let's just do the next one. Mhm. And this time, I'm actually going to take calls tonight because it's going to be like an extended convo. Right. Eastern Nigeria, Biafra land, where the injustice meted at one man is now snowballing into a full-blown crisis. I am going to say this just again. Nnamdi Kanu, that has been sort of demonized enough that a lot of you will agree, or a lot of you did agree, that he deserved to be punished, jailed, killed, and every other thing you wished, simply because some of you felt like if they didn't do that to stop Nnamdi Kanu, one day will be one day that those that couldn't use that force, you said, to stop Nnamdi Kanu will not be able to go back to Eastern Nigeria. I mean, some of you predicted that, yeah? Okay. As much as you might be telling yourself today that you said it, unknown gunmen, people who are forcing people to sit at home, those who are bragging and making videos of destroying people's wares, people's businesses, smashing them, and singing of sit at home, go and sit at home. A lot of people on social media, most of them not victims per se, most of them reacting, their own way of showing that reacting to the injustice meted at one man. But let me just remind you something. One of the things that actually goes wrong or went wrong from the start is that a lot of time was expended and allowed for falsehood, misrepresentation to actually spread. And this falsehood and misrepresentation, they were coming from the government. They were the source of this discontentment, all right? These divisive rhetorics that further make the conversation around why do they want Biafra? Why do you even have IPOB? You know, making the conversation around that very, very difficult to have, if not impossible. Because people already have their own personal premonition or conclusion per se about anything that has to do with Biafra or referendum or breakup. The politicians who were supposed to actually manage this from the start thought it would never, in a way, get out of hand if they, rather than manage it, if they milk it and make it deteriorate enough, right? But here we are today. Let me tell you that. The conversation around the Biafra, referendum, and Nnamdi Kanu, and whatever you have as your personal experience. For now, I'm not going to rule out people's experiences here, okay? Now, we all know it has become almost impossible to even have a clean, clear, understandable, sort of communicative conversation. Any clearer conversation, intelligent conversation. You know what I mean? Conversation around why Biafra, okay? And why now? And kind of like, you know what I mean? Conversation around that would have helped a lot of people who have sort of been sort of agitated based on what they are told. What this simply means is, if you hear Biafra, it is calling for war. And you should reject anybody that mentions that. So it was more or less like naturally, if anybody mentions Biafra, is considered as an aggressor. And whatever they see, they should take it. A lot of us are guilty of this. And that's why I'm trying to make you understand the role you have played in today's crisis in Eastern Nigeria, all of us. And being hostile makes it kind of like whatever you see, or should I say, it gave the politicians a sort of a free line, a license to do whatever they like with the people that they considered as problematic, aggressors, those who want to break Nigeria. Meanwhile, in that conversation around Biafra, the intelligent people, the intelligent Biafrans, when I say intelligent, it means those who actually understands why. They had this conversation around why do they want a Biafra, and why is Biafra back again? In the political conversation of Nigeria. Is Nigeria not beyond that Biafra now? I mean, what happened to no winner, no vanquish? But because you have been programmed to see it as a call for war, so psychologically, you have to resist it. You shouldn't entertain the conversation around it. But here is what happened. 50 years after the Nigeria Civil War, 53 years after the Nigeria Civil War, the Igbos have still not been integrated into the Nigerian system, despite the fact that after the war, the Igbos have been the most traveled. Igbos, who are Nigerians, have been those who have actually invested en masse outside their region. Forget this political sort of orchestration that made that sort of a thing. But when you look at after the Nigerian Civil War, okay, and then you look at those who have exhibited the real Nigerian, something that says all Nigerians can live anywhere in Nigeria, wherever they want, and run their legitimate businesses. They have been those who have done so much to integrate into the rest of Nigeria. But when it comes to their real place in Nigeria, where it has become a sign of belonging, sort of a sense of belonging, right? When you have a chance to be at the leadership position of that country, something that has become an open conversation, right? And after 53 years, the rest of Nigeria are being convinced by the political criminals, past and present, why an Igbo can never lead Nigeria. A sort of a condescending statement that being an Igbo, if you are an Igbo, how would you feel? So, the criminals in Nigeria, even the Igbo politicians themselves, who have failed woefully, like woefully in this scheme of things, they were more kind of comfortable having if all the Igbos can leave Igbo land and go elsewhere and just bring whatever they can bring back, they'll be fine with that. Right? Now, having failed made it easier for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to remind the Igbos that no matter what they do, no matter how much they integrate, no matter how much they invest in Nigeria, they will continue to be reminded that they are not wanted in Nigeria. Now, if they are not wanted in Nigeria, if it has gotten to a stage whereby an Igbo man, an Igbo woman is questioning his place in a country that is meant to be his country or a country, and every now and then, he or she is reminded that no matter what they do, no matter who they are, they will never be in charge of Nigeria. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu decided to remind the Igbos their true history, remind the rest of Nigeria our true history, the ones that they believe if they are told in your classrooms, of course, you probably won't be proud Nigerians. No, you won't say you are proud Nigerians, of course. So they kept them away. Now, instead of the politicians who actually listen to Nnamdi Kanu, who kind of so scared that the people Nnamdi Kanu is addressing, if something is not done, these people may revolt one day. And when they revolt, they may actually follow Nnamdi Kanu to demand for Biafra. And if that should happen, the first casualty of that will be the Igbo politicians, Igbo elites, who have managed to secure their own seats on this corrupt Nigeria table, one Nigeria. So what happened? Instead of them to probably address things that make Nnamdi Kanu's messages so acceptable to so many demographics of Igbos, locally and internationally, diaspora and in Igbo land, why are they listening to this guy? They were listening to him too, right? Rather than kind of bridge that gap, the gap of marginalization, the gap of discrimination, the gap of state-sponsored profiling, the gap of economic jihad against the Igbos, political jihad against the Igbos. You know, all these things are existing. Igbos are over 60 million people. That is not a number that any reasonable leader of Igbo extraction should ignore or undermine. Why did Nnamdi Kanu become so powerful? Why? Because of the failure of those who were shouting one Nigeria on one hand, no Igbo on the other hand. And the Igbos, who have done so much as part of Nigeria, many of them born outside Igbo land. And that kind of made some of them can speak so many Nigerian languages, but they are always constantly reminded, they will never, ever lead Nigeria. It's not because the Igbos are desperate to lead Nigeria. If it is left at not leading Nigeria, that's okay. But there are those in the corridors of power in Nigeria, the owners of Nigeria, who are no longer able to hide their own prejudice against the Igbos, right? That they have started using the state machineries, the state apparatuses to hunt down and profile the Igbos, their businesses and everything in Nigeria. These are happening and there are victims. So when Nnamdi Kanu speak about their dilemma, he speaks so passionately as a victim too. You know, you can't speak about what is going on in Nigeria if you haven't experienced it. You can't. you'll be faking it. It will be so obvious that you are faking it. But if you want to talk about what is going on in Nigeria and you have experienced them firsthand, any part of them, when you are speaking to people who are experiencing them now, it will just be like you are speaking straight into their consciousness. And that's a very powerful way to connect with people. When you connect with what they daily face that nobody want to even address, nobody want to talk about. So rather than build on this and at least take a look at all these shortcomings, give the Igbos the voice. Give them their exact place in that Nigeria. If you really want that one Nigeria to make sense, right? Now, if people are actually doing that, okay, and this issue of economic sabotage, jihad, if they see that indeed these are kind of reducing, okay, the underdevelopment of Igbo land, that a lot of you will conveniently say the Igbo governors are to be blamed for the underdevelopment of Igbo land. Of course, you'll be right. But at the same time, when you have a region where those who killed over 5 million people to force them to remain in Nigeria feels like they didn't kill enough, the owners of Nigeria. So rather than follow their no winner, no vanquish nonsense, it was switched to Cold War. So, which indirectly means anything but Igbo. And anything to use to justify this cruelty against them is welcomed. So rather than look into all of the rants, complaints, facts here and there of Nnamdi Kanu, and find a way to cover them up enough that this underdevelopment, this second-hand or third-class citizens of how they are treating the Igbos would have discouraged at least more people from listening to Nnamdi Kanu. But when Nnamdi Kanu says something, and the following day, those things started happening. The people that ignored him yesterday, they want to listen to him tonight. When they listen to him tonight, and they begin to tell them things again, they are already connected. They already feels like Nigeria doesn't want them. Okay? And it is by the Nigeria action. They have already agreed that their political elite, they are also in on it. Okay? So, this man is a prophet that is trying to bring all of us back to our senses. If we don't act, we'll perish. So instead of looking into those vices, into those complaints that Nnamdi Kanu listed for years, they diverted your attention more to Nnamdi Kanu's negative words. Yeah, they wanted to remember how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba churches, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba women, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted these Yoruba men, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Yoruba race, how Nnamdi Kanu insulted the Fulani race. You know what I mean? That's exactly, if they want to have their Biafra, they should have their Biafra. How can you be insulting the Yorubas? You this kiniko. So you are so raging. So that worked, by the way. It worked. So what happened? The elite in Nigeria, Igbos, Yorubas, Fulanis, Awusas, all of these criminals, they were able to make Nnamdi Kanu the symbol of a scapegoat that you love him to be. Nigerians were requesting, they should arrest this Nnamdi Kanu. They should take kiniko. They should kill this kiniko. We'll kill all these Igbo again. Like people were kind of mocking the Igbos that they were killed and they will kill them again if they try any nonsense. But they don't want them to go. Now, despite all of this, I will keep reminding you, there was no unknown gunmen in eastern Nigeria. There was no harassment or anything of anybody in eastern Nigeria. There are videos where Nigerian policemen, they were fighting to take pictures with Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, there are videos where Nigerian policemen were providing the pathway for Nnamdi Kanu to walk through this mammoth crowd. So there was never anything unknown gunmen. There was never anything IPOB harassment. They were having meetings. I'll show you something. You know this video? Now take a look at these people. These are IPOB members in eastern Nigeria. When the whole conversation was around why Igbos want referendum, they were not even asking for war. So take a look. This is what it looked like in eastern Nigeria when IPOB, right, under Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, was preaching about Biafra. Elderly, young people, they will gather together. They will talk about all their problems. They will talk about all their aspirations. They will remember all of their, ancestors and the past heroes and heroines and all that. Then they will plan ahead and say, well, whenever the time comes, we will come together, okay? And we will vote for Biafra. This is the people that they are telling you or making you believe in outside Igbo land as, violent people. Take a look. You remember this song now?
Onye du iPod, o meriwo n'Izu, onye ya abakare, mama dawora, una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2, now Python dance 3. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Na Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi bu onye du iPod. O meriwo n'Izu, mbiro ya abakare, mama ndawora. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Now Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Now Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Now Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Now Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi win the war. Python dance 1, Python dance 2. Now Python dance the three. Una pori meri Nnamdi.
So those are the people they want you to believe are terrorists. Those are the people they want you to believe are dangerous people. That's what they do. They sing and all of that. This was even after Python dance, when they sent soldiers to go and hunt down young Igbos. All of this happened. We saw them killed. And a lot of you justified those killings. You said Nnamdi Kanu send the young people to their death. How did he send them to their death? You watched the criminals in Nigeria justified killing other Nigerians who identify as Igbos. That happened. Despite all of this, they kidnapped him. And after kidnapping him, they started their unknown gunmen. Suddenly, some ragtag criminals that are being sort of encouraged, mostly on social media, now find it kind of all right for the man, Nnamdi Kanu, that is locked up illegally, because you should always remember that, that it now makes sense, right, to shoot and kill and attack the same Biafrans that I have heard Nnamdi Kanu speak about. Like, and they said because Nigeria won't release Nnamdi Kanu. And if Nigeria is not going to release Nnamdi Kanu, all the Igbos in Igbo land, they must sit at home. How inconsiderate is that? But they said Nnamdi Kanu is in detention. Because Nnamdi Kanu is in detention, okay, is suffering in the DSS detention. Why are the people in Igbo land think they should? I mean, they can't sit at home for a whole week until the Nigerian government will release Nnamdi Kanu. Now, you see, when Nnamdi Kanu was here, when I first heard about the sit at home, it was a voluntary thing that people actually did, and they were doing it with so much kind of like happiness. You know why? Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was able to remind the Igbos that remembering all those killed by Nigeria during that the genocidal war, it is not enough to remember them just for that one single day. Like, if all of us can actually have that as a public holiday, I remember that. And it was something that a lot of people actually shared up. They're like, you know what? We'll be sitting at home on the day that we'll remember our ancestors that died defending or fighting for Biafra, so to say, or killed because of their origin and their nationality as Biafrans, okay? And that was how sit at home became a thing. It wasn't a protest. It was meant to be an holiday that should be like a national holiday in Igbo land. If to say Nigeria, they didn't do everything to try to bury the massacre or the genocide, one of the worst in the history of Nigeria. If they didn't try to, then when they adopted that as a means of protest, it was like, we're going to have to sit at home as a protest that we are not happy that Nigeria is treating Nnamdi Kanu, Nigeria is treating him. But see the charlatans who have hijacked that now. See the destroyers who have hijacked that now. See all the kind of criminals who are celebrating the destruction of the livelihood of their fellow Igbos. The politicians who actually started this unknown gunmen, somehow, they did this to further rise you up in order to maybe find something they can say Nnamdi Kanu is the one sponsoring them. But guess what? Nnamdi Kanu from the detention repeatedly said, if you have to hurt a fellow Biafran to prove a point to Nigeria, you are just being stupid. It's as simple as that. You should see the amount of hurt or damages that the Igbos are subjected to in Nigeria today. This level of limitation, the marginalization, discrimination, that a lot of people are currently feeling like it's normal that the Igbos are subjected to in Nigeria today. You can't be fighting for the same Igbos, especially the poor ones, the poor Igbos, that actually like others in Nigeria, they live on what they kill. You cannot be so heartless and cold-hearted and say you are fighting for Nnamdi Kanu, and you are making videos of you attacking your fellow Igbos. Then it's so funny. I've said this before. I know politicians are involved. In fact, I believe strongly that, you see, the unknown gunmen and the rest of them, they are politically sponsored. But gone are the days when on social media, people will be celebrating unknown gunmen because they are punishing those who have been punishing the Igbos in Nigeria. Until I reminded them of, listen, if you look at it very well, think about it, like these guys who suddenly appear from nowhere are in no way representing the same IPOB that I am quite, I mean, you can call me one of the researchers of the activities of the IPOB. None of them is related to violence. None of them. Nnamdi Kanu talks tough. What do you do when you have to pass a message to people who choose to be ignorant intentionally? Of course, you're going to be kind of like firebrand. And he did that, and he got the attention, not just the attention of the Igbos, he got the attentions of the entire Nigeria. But he's not violent. He was never one, and there was never any traces of violence, right? And I was like, hey, don't celebrate this, so. Because then some were like, the unknown gunmen are DSS. The unknown gunmen are Fulani, this and that, who are disguising as Igbos. I was one of those who actually told people to stop saying that. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? We have seen those we believe. Not until now, I've never been seen to be associated with IPOB. Not the IPOB I know. They've never been associated with them. Okay? Then suddenly, their own kind of IPOBs that, or their own kind of Biafra struggle is going to be threat after threat, threat after threat. And when they carry out those threats cowardly, they go to places where people can really fight them back, okay? And they start shooting and making videos and telling them, stay at home and sit at home. Then they say, well, they are not Fulani and they are not DSS. There are some people being paid. Now, lately, we are beginning to realize that this might actually be a collection of different criminals whose purpose is to create this scenario you are seeing in Eastern Nigeria today. But unfortunately, we have heard about the role of Asari Dokubo in this whole crisis. But just like in 2015, when the Igbo politicians felt like they actually knew how to, end this crisis. It wasn't such a crisis at the time. So rather than them to look into the core problem that is fueling agitation, that is also making the message of those asking for Biafra, whether they are asking for it violently, or they are asking for it peacefully, or they are whatever it is, instead of them to look into those disenfranchisements, those discrimination and the rest of that, and be the voice of the Igbos. And when I say the voice, I mean to genuinely be pro-Igbo and Igbo land. When I say pro-Igbo and Igbo land, drop the idea of this one Nigeria. Be truthful to yourselves and honest. Be sincere with your people, okay? But no, they won't. Do you know what they are doing right now? They are making it worse. In Enugu, they are harming some people, okay? This is the politicians now. They are harming some people, and they call them special forces. And their job is to go after any IPOB they see. Remember, they said the problem is unknown gunmen, Abi? But they are putting together different forces now in Eastern Nigeria. But let me remind you, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was lamenting about the Fulani kidnapping and killing and raping Igbo women and men and all of that in Igbo land, invading Igbo land, and he was screaming about that and all that. And he said, when he met with them in Enugu, before they staged his assassination, that is kind of survived, right? So in Enugu, he listed and he said, security is one of them. That the Igbo leaders, okay, if they care about Igbo land, they should come together and put together the Igbo security apparatus that is only comprising of Igbos who understand the terrain to provide security for the Igbos in Igbo land. He listed about 11 demands. In all of these 11 demands, they all bordered on caring for the Igbos in Igbo land, open the seaport, create jobs for the people, give them electricity, improve on the infrastructure of the people, including medical facilities, okay? Improve on education for them. I mean, Igbos are traders, make available resources that Igbos will be happy to invest in and stay in Igbo land and develop the Igbo land so that a day is coming that Igbo land will be completely free of Nigeria. This development will be yours and all that. He listed them. None of those demands asked for anything for himself. None. And I think that's what jotted them. So what did they do? They sent security. I mean, they sent the Nigerian military after him to assassinate him. He escaped. Then from that exile, he put together, never seen before. You saw the video. Young Igbos and not too young Igbos who came together to provide that same security. And they were called Eastern Security Network, ESN. The Igbo elite, they were alarmed. A lot of you were alarmed too. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu is putting together his army. Oh, Nnamdi Kanu is going to start war. It was easier for the government and the criminal government of Nigeria under Buhari to convince you why they need to mobilize the military and start hunting down any Igbo they see. Remember, this Eastern Security Network, their main mission and mandate is to stay, open their camps inside all of the forest in Igbo land. There was no agenda of, we are putting you together, it is to go and fight war and start Biafra. Or we are putting you together, is to kick everybody who is non-Igbo out of Igbo land. Or we are putting you together to go after people and start collecting taxes for me. No. Because by the time Nnamdi Kanu established ESN, Eastern Security Network, there were already Biafrans across 140 countries of the world who are annually, regularly remitting their own membership dues to fund any idea, any project, or any developmental, what have you, in Igbo land. IPOB became that prominent. 140 countries. It was able to be that powerful. Nnamdi Kanu was powerful, and I believe he is still very much powerful. Very powerful in this regard because of the amount of people who took their time, okay, to listen to him and see his clear, sincere intention. None of them is in any way to hurt anybody. Of course, that rattled the Igbo politicians. What did they do? They further kind of intensify their effort to get Nnamdi Kanu killed. Their media was feeding you everything they wanted you to hear because it was like setting the stage. Anyone who is paraded by this criminal military in Nigeria, they will just tell you it's IPOB member. They don't arrest all this IPOB member again. Innocent people were raided. For years, a lot of them were killed. Their organs, harvested and sold off. I'm not making this up. All of this happened. None of all Nnamdi Kanu's points were in any way looked into or attempted to actually fix. No, for those years, they were hunting for him. And they were spending money on things to kind of justify why they must kill him and kill IPOB. So unfortunately, they started the Ebubeagu. Ebubeagu was supposed to be like security network that they failed to set up when Nnamdi Kanu met with them in Enugu then. What they didn't do, they decided to, but you know something? Ebubeagu's mandate is not to go after criminals, not even after the unknown gunmen or the Fulani terrorists that are wreaking havoc in this different part of Nigeria. No, their mandate given to them by the governors from Ebonyi to Owerri, Imo, from Owerri to Abia, from there to Anambra, and from there to Enugu, all these places, the mandate given to Ebubeagu is to hunt down the people they call Nnamdi Kanu supporters or IPOB. Once you arrest or capture them, And they make it look like Nnamdi Kanu's or IPOB supporters or IPOB members, they are like people who don't live in communities. These are elderly people, young people, normal people, okay, that you meet like normally, indigenous people of Biafra. Anyway, they said that Nnamdi Kanu won more enemies than friend. I don't believe that. So it became a clog that they just have to hunt down. Now you see this hunting him down has now backfired. A lot of ragtag criminals are now parading themselves as people who are fighting to release Nnamdi Kanu. And guess those they are now targeting? The same people Nnamdi Kanu is believed to currently being punished for. And don't forget, even if you wished him to be killed, jailed for life, it should be this and that, but you will still remember that there are supposed to be laws. If you believe you have rights, he also have rights, okay? If you believe he has committed any crime, then you have the right to present the evidence. They kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu. Then they took him to court without any evidence of what he's done. They just want the court to say, keep him. Just keep him. Now, the same court said, let him go. If you can't really prove this or that. All of you heard that. But it's like a selected judgment, or selected or selective judgment. You see all these ragtag criminals, online and offline, that are contributing and fueling this endless sort of crisis in Eastern Nigeria. Those who are telling themselves that they have a point to prove. I can tell you this for free. There is none of them that is speaking for Nnamdi Kanu. Because, I mean, they don't even have that passion. If they have the passion of Nnamdi Kanu, if they have the sincerity of Nnamdi Kanu, they will never, in any way, mute an idea that will hurt any Biafran in Biafra land. Whether they agree to sit at home or they don't agree to sit at home, you will never feel comfortable hurting them. Talk less of making videos, of shooting and killing them because you want to ward them off. Now, I am saying that whatever is going on in Eastern Nigeria, I once said, Tinubu should not inherit Boko Haram's enemies. One of Boko Haram's inherited enemies is Nnamdi Kanu. Court says he should go. Now, if Tinubu is going to actually start well in this conversation around injustice and all that, he will ask the court, okay, to let him go, or not just ask the court. He would ask the DSS holding him to let him go. There's this personal conviction I have, and that personal conviction is that there are those who really don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. In fact, majority of those who are claiming to be fighting for his release, and they are causing this havoc as we are witnessing them today, they probably don't even want him released. Maybe some of them actually want him killed so that they can have justification for voluntarily destroying Biafra land, the same place that Nigerian military are wreaking havoc every day. So, if not, if Nigeria releases Nnamdi Kanu today, it will be easier to see the intention of those who are shouting Biafra and using his name. It will be very easy. You know how? There are many of them who are already accusing Nnamdi Kanu that Nnamdi Kanu is no longer the same Nnamdi Kanu. That if Nnamdi Kanu comes out and he tells them, right, to stop all of this, the same Nnamdi Kanu will not be spared. But I am saying that it's so easy for a lot of people to make a lot of mouth when the king is not around. Now, if those who claim that they are doing something to restore the peace in Eastern Nigeria, those who are funding all these terrorists in Eastern Nigeria, if they really actually mean it and they care, you release Nnamdi Kanu and watch how all these charlatans, these rogues, and their sponsor will not only be exposed, they will disappear like they never happened. I'm very convinced. Nnamdi Kanu has been subjected to the most dehumanizing kind of conditions that even if you have convicted him of any crime, you shouldn't treat him that way. All of these are being passed on, and the Igbo politicians are currently buying guns for another set of political friends of theirs that they can just assemble to start hunting those that are mostly their political enemies. And all they have to accuse them of is that they are IPOB. And they are those who are enforcing sit at home. Repeatedly, IPOB came out officially and they said they are not declaring any sit at home in Igbo land. But there are others who are saying the IPOB is compromised. The IPOB is this and that. They are now in charge. But look at all of this wreck. If you want all of that to end, release Nnamdi Kanu. I know it's something that is a top shot or a long shot. I'm not begging you to release him. I'm saying obey your law, obey your courts. And then we can see those behind the arson in Eastern Nigeria. Because as we can say right now, the Nigerian military is destroying wherever they want to. In Imo State, they are bombing, shooting, and massively arresting innocent people. All of these are going on under the radar. And of course, the Igbo politicians probably are playing either ignorance or trying to pretend that they are doing something, only to further aggravate and then worsen the situation. Save your energy. Olisa Metu and Pius Ayim, they said they met with Tinubu because of Nnamdi Kanu. I'll see that when that happens. My strong belief is this: self-determination is not a crime. Okay? Self-determination is a legitimate and universal right. It's just a way of saying we want this or we want that. Okay? And it is also part of a democracy as well. Criminalizing self-determination is not going to make it go away. It is just going to radicalize more. And I hope they won't make further mess of this situation in Eastern Nigeria. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to take calls because I know a lot of you will have one or two things to add, especially with all I have shared so far. It's up to you. I'm going to go make myself a cup of tea first. So when I get back, I will take calls and it's over to you. Don't go anywhere.
Onye du aịkọ, o meriwo n'izu, onye ya abakarị, mama dawụra, ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, na Python that's three. Ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, na Python that's three. Ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi bụ onye du aịkọ, o meriwo n'izu, mbiro ya abakarị, mama ndawụra, ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, na Python that's three. Ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one, Python that's two, na Python that's three. Ụlọ pụrụ imeri Nnamdi win the war. Python that's one.
Listen.
Hello?
Hey, my caller, just a moment, okay? Just one moment before we continue. Listen, guys, all right? I have people who normally, okay, are on this Mayegun's Diary Political. And they are on Mayegun's Diary Political because they heard about Mayegun. And they heard about this man who seems to be, blunt and then straightforward with his analysis and all that. And over time, whenever you, or let me say, whenever I mentioned what I just discussed so far, it's not the first time when you will tell me to not meddle in this, your Biafra. I know why you will say that, okay? I'm just being diplomatic. Trust me, okay? I am just being diplomatic when I'm trying to like pass my message without trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to kind of point fingers that much. Nobody is stupid, okay? And on Mayegun's diary political, you will actually be talking to a wrong person when you say to Mayegun, it should not dabble into Biafra. You decrease in it. Like, would it be today that it's going to be an abomination for Mayegun to dabble into Biafra? Like, So we can see those of you who are actually destroying what this whole thing actually mean. And if it annoys the hell out of you that Mayegun is dabbling into it, you know what to do. You can excuse yourself, so to say, seriously. And or you can pick up the phone and say it to my face. Mayegun, shut up your mouth about sit at home. All of that, okay? And then maybe you can listen to my own response too. Don't be a keypad warrior, all right? Just make the phone call. Hello there.
Hello, Mayegun.
How you doing, Baba?
I'm doing great. Mayegun, this is my first time calling. I am very surprised that I'm even getting through. I just like hit it and I went through the first time because
is that your first
because
try?
Yes, first try, first dial, first try. And I got through because I watch your program. I see people say, hey, I keep going and going. And I'm like, man, all these people are always saying the same thing. But, you know, I'm happy that I got through and, hey, you're doing an excellent job.
Thanks,
you know, I don't know how I stumbled onto your, to this right now, but I'm very happy that I did. And this is a religious thing that I do. I mean, I have you in my car. I have you at home. I have you everywhere, and you know I'm very happy that you know
Thanks,
you're this out and stuff on this. So I'm actually calling. My name is Jimmy. I'm actually calling from Houston, in the United States and stuff here. Hey, I'm looking at it like you know every time you talk, you make a lot of sense, man, because Nigeria just looks like it's a place that's just boiling, about to explode, and it's coming. It's coming very sooner than expected. Is what it is. Sooner than expected and stuff on there, because what this guy is actually doing right now. The first thing about Nigeria, first problem about Nigeria is really there's no accountability for anything.
That's right. Nobody's responsible for the actions.
Accountability for anything, and based on what you said today about us not being able to go to Seychelles, other countries are coming.
Yeah.
Other countries are in the pipeline, and it's just coming because the Nigerian passport pretty much right now is worthless. I'm sorry. And it's just in my opinion.
That should ordinarily be an insult if somebody says we don't want Nigerians in our country anymore. Like 6 months ago or 7 months ago, you are smiling to the camera, signing a deal that
Correct.
Nigerians could fly in straight flight to your country. What went wrong?
Correct. Now, before I wrap up, I just want to, based on what we just talked about right now, saying about being worthless, how can a Nigerian passport be worthless in another African country? So that's just a message. Everybody should just look. How can the biggest country in the most populous country in Africa, how can our passport be worthless in other African countries? And I'm done, Mayegun. I mean, I'm not saying I'm done with you, but I'm just done. I mean, it's just frustrating.
Like, it gets to that point where you just feel like, you know, this is a rhetorical question that the answer is always going to be the same. Like, you know, should we call it an unfortunate, you know, kind of connection or so? Baba, Jimmy, let me take another
Thanks so much.
Thanks, you.
All right. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah,
All right. Take care.
Man. Thank you. So I have another caller on the line, and hang on. Hello there, Prince Jejema, is that you?
Yes, this is Prince Jejema, my good general.
I know you'll be interested in this. So
very,
let's manage the time, please.
I do, Papa. Yeah, Papa. Well done for the good job. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
we can't thank you enough. Yeah, I have to talk on 2 points. The earlier the Sunday Simon about the Lauren issue. You see, Nnamdi Kanu used to talk much about that Lauren. He used to shout and warn the Yorubas, about the Afonja connection of how Afonja was being political, doing politics with his people, and at the same time before that, the encroachment of the Fulanis and how they established their emirate there, And this is the same thing that he was doing in the southeast. He sensitized everybody, made us to know that even some of us are in Kogi State, some of us are in cut into Benue State. Before, I am an Igbo Biafran, but I don't know about all these histories. Because Nigeria buried the history. Doesn't want anybody to know about what is happening. So now they can enlighten everybody to know, and that's why every 95% of Biafrans, so they've not 99, are aware of their geography, and that's why we are all standing up. If they are doubting anything, let them conduct referendum, okay? And see, let them not worry, let them not pity us. Just conduct a referendum. Those that want to be in Nigeria will be in Nigeria, and those that want to go will go. There's no big deal about that. So Yorubas they should stand up early enough, because this Muslim ticket, that's the reason why they are doing all this they are doing. Is a terrorist agenda. Terrorists don't have religion. But what they are pushing for, when you don't allow others in the society to live freely, is a terrorism. It's an act of terrorism. Okay? In a secular state, you are trying to force your will against upon others. So that is one. On the aspect of the issue of IPOB you talked about today,
yes, sir.
you have been so diplomatic about it, and which is very good.
Yeah,
You are
that's what I'm
handling
trying
it
to say earlier. I
maturely.
said I am just trying to be diplomatic. I don't want to be vulgar. I don't want to be that a gutter guy like some of them are kind of turning into, because that's actually not shouldn't be about
Exactly.
agitation. You know what I mean? Or again,
Yeah,
go on, Baba.
I know that you knows about everything that is going on,
I
because
do.
you take your time to study what is going on. You don't. Their channel is where people will get, at least, if not 100%, we say 99% true information about anything going on about Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Okay. So before ever you may issue any statement on your channel, you make sure that you do the finding very well.
That's right.
So the people that are talking about now, they cannot stand for one thing about the Biafrans. He stand for the unity of Biafran. He managed to unify the east, west, north, and south of Biafra, made us to understand that we are one. So you see, that is his footprint. So anybody who is standing up saying that he's fighting for Nnamdi Kanu, but he's bringing disunity into his movement or agitation, the person is not fighting for Nnamdi Kanu. And two, Nnamdi Kanu is fighting to protect. He take a great risk to go and establish ESN. It's for the protection of Biafran people. So anything that you are doing that will cause harm to Biafran people, yeah, it's not for the interest of Biafran. It's not the
That's
interest
what I
of
believe.
Nnamdi Kanu that you stand there. You are telling people that you are fighting for, because by their fruit, not by what you said, by their fruit is we shall know them. People who are doing the right thing. That is very, 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 very clear. So today everything that we are doing. Now they kind of said in the court that, look, I want peace in the eastern Nigeria. I want the people everywhere to be calm. Okay, and you know that whenever this is sit at home that is not for the day of the kind of court is put in, he attracts all non-state, all different kind of group of armed distant to come in and take advantage and start to do one thing or the other, And thank God that always IPOB disassociate themselves from everything, so that the international community will continue to take note. We are a peaceful organization, and that's what we stand for until Biafra is being restored. So thank you very much, my good general, for your great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, remember.
Let me take another one. I'm here.
Hello.
So.
Hello, Baba Mayegun.
Baba.
Good evening.
Is that Osagede?
No. This is Chidozie from Luton.
I'm so sorry, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at that. I was like, how you doing, Baba? Chidozie.
I'm good. Look, the thing is that I've been following for the past, how many years? But my parents came from Nigeria to visit me, and they've been in love with you all this time. So they just want to say hello to you.
Hey.
They are over 80. Just say hello, mommy, to Bayegun.
Okay. Hello, ma.
We love you.
Oh, thank
you. Keep it up.
I will, ma.
It's going to be well with you.
Amen.
Yes.
And now my dad.
Hey, you're doing very well. You are going to succeed.
Amen.
Yes.
We are behind you. You are not alone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Enjoy your stay, and then you're just gonna make me jealous.
All right, Baba. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Thanks so much, Baba. And is that what you
I
just want to do?
Just say hi. I came to England to visit them, so I'm taking back my message to Germany. Thank you so much, Baba.
God bless you, Baba. Enjoy your stay, okay? You have a good one, okay? Thanks a lot. Wow, that's kind of, all of you ways to get your papa and your mama. You don't know what's in God, do you? I wish. I love that. Thank you so much, sir and ma, for that. So I have another caller on the line.
Hi, Mayegun. Good evening. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well. Thanks.
Okay. How are you? Yeah, I'm very well. Okay, I'm just going to touch a bit on the call you made earlier in the day. Mohammed said he's from Emirates. I just laughed when he made that statement. When you do not know your history, how do you know where you're going?
That's a tough one.
How can a Yoruba man, okay, the name is Biari Belgore, has he researched on that name, how he came about that name? And besides, there's a gentleman that called and said Mohammed is a Fulani man. Mohammed is not a Fulani man. The people should not make misleading and blanket statement. Mohammed is a Yoruba man. And that's why Mohammed asked that question. And I seem you do not understand why Mohammed said, can you go to the Vatican and call a Muslim prayer? He's now thinking, my man is waking up mentally. Kudos to him. Don't worry. With time, yeah, he will understand. Now, fast forward, going to what is happening in Igbo land it's so sad because the thing is that I think there is a problem within the leadership of IPOB at the minute. Because I will not assert what I've not heard from my ears. I heard that Simon Ekpa is calling for sit at home. He was the one that called for the one with sit at home, whereas Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is saying the opposite. So what's going on? And when you have that sort of situation, then you have miscreants, like all sort of miscreants. And we know one of the major players now. We know him to be, he has marked himself. They told from, I call him the toad from the Greek, that it is slave, an Igbo slave that does not know his beginning. That's always a problem. So going forward, I personally, for one, because we keep saying referendum, Nigeria is not going to conduct a referendum. A country that cannot conduct a free and fair election, how can they conduct a referendum?
That's a big question.
And they have, and somebody said the other day, I've forgotten his name, is a northerner. He said that referendum is not entrenched in our constitution. which means you guys can say all you want. Listen, at the end of the day, I think a coup d'etat is just inevitable. It's coming to a place that a coup d'etat is inevitable. Talking about soldiers being paid poorly, I know about it. I've been involved with the military and all that. Even the generals, you'll be shocked at how much they pay them. And that's why you find the generals, people like Jagaban, they will bribe them, and or any other. It becomes very big money for them. You know, they are poor. These people are poorly paid. They are not professional. Yeah, they're poorly paid. So there's a prayer that somebody used to pray. He says, "Please, Lord, bless me so that I will not put my hands in sin." You know, God should bless him so that he will not. Yeah, not yeah. So so look at an average policeman here. I mean, he's okay. Do you want to bribe a policeman in the UK? You can't. You can't even there. The man is well okay. I know that. Not to say that we do not have a rogue policeman sometimes.
Of course.
But when you want to go rogue and all that, you go for the big thing, you know. So the issue of IPOB or Yoruba Nation, my brother, is going to take. It's going to take more than just a mouthful. It's going to be a play. It's coming close to where it's going to be armed struggle, and Tinubu. If he doesn't, I mean, they say the papa was saying Peking no go sleep, into no go sleep, into no go sleep. He and his criminals here, because it come to a time where there is going to be armed struggle, because he's using what I'll call a gangster style to run the government. By the time the Wala is already at his doorstep, but if that's time manifesting. But me personally, I think the only thing that will solve this whole thing and reset the whole thing, and I said it the other night that I called. This is part of the thing that caused the 1966 uprising in the army, and then the first coup happened. I see another coup, and this time around it's going to be bloody. Honestly, I don't wish for it, but it's going to be. Boy,
a lot of us don't. But when they continue in this trajectory, anything can happen.
Yes.
And we need to know that, all of us.
Yes, so let's just not be surprised. It's not about Igbos, or it's not about Yoruba. It's just about the injustice. How can you be calling for? I mean, senators calling for house ways allowance to where a lot of children are naked. They can't even feed. They don't even know where their breakfast, if there is going to be anything like breakfast. Some can't even go to school and all that. And our senators are overpaid idiots. Most of them, look at the other one that you played the video the other day that even can't speak English very well.
What's that guy's name again? He has a name, and his name is quite funny as well. But yeah, I remember him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
let me take another call. Right? Thanks so much.
Well, we keep looking, and we enjoy the ride. Anyway,
at least,
all right.
What we believe is that when things continue like this, like you also said, right, it will get to a stage that something is going to happen. We may not be 100% certain, but we believe if they continue like this, right, it's just a matter of time, Baba. You know?
Exactly. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye. So I'll take another caller here. Hello there. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yes, I can hear you, Maya. Good evening.
Amazing. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Long time listener, first time caller.
Oh, did you say your first time caller as well?
Yeah, long time listener, first time caller.
Amazing. Oh, where's my shekere? How are you doing, sir?
Fine. My name is Chidi, and I'm calling from the UK here. You see, yeah. You see, when it comes to Nnamdi Kanu, most people don't know him. Yeah. I attended an IPOB meeting in London in Peckham, 2013.
Bless you.
Yeah. I'm from Abia State, and he's from Abia State too. Yes. Yeah. So during the course of the meeting, I asked me a question. I said, "You are from Abia State. I'm from Abia State, and we have a useless governor. Why don't we start with our governor and set an example, so that people would take IPOB serious, and other governors will say that okay, these people are holding us to ransom, are holding us to account for the money they receive." Federal government is not starving you of state allocation.
No.
You are having all the money you need.
Right.
Why are you not developing? So when we hold the Abia State government to account, they will now spread all over. Even if it means burning their houses or all their investments. Nnamdi stood up and told me and said, listen, Chidi, I don't want violence. We are never going to get involved in violence. I said, but that is the only language you'll understand. He said, no. He said, by the time I break our people's coconut head with the truth, that they will now start understanding what I'm talking. He said, you don't need violence. All you need to do is to say the truth and let them see it and don't leave any other lie. I said, okay, no problem. But when this thing will start, you can't handle it. He said, don't worry. When we'll get there, but the most important thing is to sanitize our people.
At least, yeah, let the people understand why he wants to do what he wants to do. Once he wins them on his side, the job is half easy.
I said, okay, no problem. Whatever you need, however it is. So when people don't understand certain things about IPOB, I laugh at them. Yeah, you see, in IPOB, every member contributes money. Even non-members contribute money.
That's right.
A politician came here and brought 10,000 pounds. Nnamdi asked him to take back his money. In fact, the person that brought the money, Nnamdi expelled him from IPOB. He said, it is the 10 pound, 5 pound that you members bring is the most important. And he said that whatever will happen in Biafra land, that whatever will happen in Nigeria, that no Biafran in Nigeria will contribute a penny to whatever will happen in Biafra, that every expenses that will be made will be contributed from every Biafran in diaspora. And he started visiting different countries, mobilizing people, different countries. If he says he wants to go to Australia today, somebody in Australia that he doesn't know will buy him a ticket.
That's right.
When he gets to Australia, they will take him shopping, buy him clothes. That is how he moves. But people don't understand it. When they say, oh, that he's being bribed, I keep laughing. If you don't know the working of IPOB, you don't understand anything at all. That's why when people say certain things, I don't even bother myself to argue. Because what you don't know is bigger than you. All you need to do is to seek the information, and you will be informed. But if it's had to be, talking rubbish, I just
a cloud chaser and all that. Well, enjoy it.
Up to the money they contribute here in IPOB worldwide, there is a section of it that goes to treating people in Biafra that the police are holding. They've shot them. Some are in the hospital. Some are in prisons. Lawyers are going from prison to prison, releasing them.
I am a witness to that one. No. Lawyers going to prison to prison. No. I'm aware of that one.
Except if you don't know, where is all this money coming from?
Where?
From the money being contributed from 10 pound monthly dues or 20 pound monthly dues or 20 euro monthly dues from IPOBs in diaspora.
That's right.
That's where the money is coming from. No one penny from any useless politician or any government official has come into IPOB expenses. That I can hit my chest and say. So when people say certain things, I laugh. When they wanted to set up ESN, trust me, Baba, even most IPOB members don't know what's going on.
Nobody knew how he pulled that off. Personally, I was going to ask him if all this did happen.
He said, a lot of you know 3 things. Some know 2 things. Some know 1 thing. But the 4th one is only for him alone, and he will never say it out. And people will just laugh. And he means it. There are things he would do. He won't tell anybody. You just see something going on. He said, okay, I need, he knows who to talk to, and things are done. You understand? So when people say what they say, trust me, there are people that are not IPOB members, they contribute money because he told them the truth in their face, and he said, watch this happen. If it doesn't happen, then call me a liar and never believe me again. And you know the funny thing? Both the government and everybody, they never made him a liar. They even made him a hero.
They always prove him right. I know.
Because they prove him right. And tell me, why wouldn't they be panicking? How many years ago he said Tinubu will make Buhari president and Buhari will hand over to Tinubu?
He said it, oh, he did, oh.
But people, that's the problem. People don't know how he gets information. They don't know how he gets information, and that information is point blank accurate.
Chidi.
So that's what panics them in the presidency with the governors and everything. If Nnamdi Kanu comes, if they release him tomorrow, if they by Providence they release him, court has said, but they know if they release him tomorrow, do you know what he's going to do? He's quietly going to go back to his house, arrange himself, calm down, not listen to any rubbish. Then he will not start asking questions. He's not going to talk to anybody. He's not going to start listening to anything because he said, and what am I asking for? Good life for my people. Is there anything wrong in that? I'm asking for good life for everybody. Some time ago, people saw him in Nigerian house campaigning for Nigeria, one Nigeria. But they've never asked him, what made you snap and start talking about Biafra now? Nobody has asked him that question.
And they are not willing to. They are more interested in trying to shut him or possibly silence him and all that. Chidi.
Before he was in Nigerian house, just protesting. My brother. So it's okay. Let me give that.
Thank you so much because you mentioned it, right? I'll use that as a single break before I take my next call. I love all you shared with us tonight. Okay, you should have a wonderful night. Okay, bye-bye.
And you too, man. Thanks, enjoy your tea. Bye.
My name is Nnamdi Kanu, and the reason why we're here today is to protest the killing of innocent women and children, and men for that matter, all over Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We are not happy, we are not pleased with what is happening, and that is why we're here today. As you can see, there are a lot of Nigerians who are protesting about the killing of families, people who are determined to tear the country apart violently, and it is not something that we support. It is not something that we would like to see continue, and we are here today to send a clear message to the Nigerian government through the High Commissioner that what is happening in the country is unacceptable, and we cannot accept it. If that continues, it will lead to the violent disintegration of the country. There will be no more Nigeria for anyone to go to. There will be no Nigeria for anyone to refer to. In fact, what is happening in Somalia today will be like a tea party. So we cannot allow this nonsense to continue. Something has to be done. And the consequences of the actions of terrorism in Nigeria must be driven home to the people, so that even the terrorists themselves will be able to understand that there is no mileage in where they're going. The only thing they can accomplish is the breakup of Nigeria. If they think that they can cower people, if they think they can force people to be coerced into a religion which is not theirs, then they are clearly mistaken. We are asking for peace. We are asking for people to get together. We are asking for everybody who loves Nigeria, who is associated with that country, to please prevail upon terrorism in Nigeria so we can bring it to an end. That is why a multitude of Nigerians are gathered here today. Those of us in the UK are determined to work with the
Hello, Maigo.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm fine. I'm doing well. Thank you for picking my call and giving me the opportunity to talk.
Thanks for calling too. Thank you.
So my name is Hadi. I'm calling from the Houston area in the US.
Okay, from Houston area. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine. I think this is my second time calling.
It is. Go on.
Yeah. So I'll be fast because I know my time is pretty short and I'd like others to contribute. So briefly, I just want to address the second caller who called earlier today. He had a lot of things to say. I really don't recall everything he said verbatim, but there were some very concerning statements he made.
Right.
Of course, these are his own personal opinions, but I just felt the need to address it because I often encounter those same opinions or inclinations in certain people that I have the cause to interact with on a day-to-day basis. So there are a lot of people that belong to that school of thought, which is that he mentioned that I don't know where he got his own history from, that some Yorubas migrated from Kwara to Kogi and they committed suicide, they died.
I heard that too, but it was confusing. It wasn't like a kind of clearer statement that I couldn't take him up on it. I want you to speak. Go on.
Exactly. If he's referring to the Okun people of Kogi, they migrated from Ile-Ife. That's the little I know about history. I'm not claiming to be, a historian, but I know
right.
we don't know where he got that his own history from. And even if, there were to be some Yoruba people that left Kwara, disgruntled and decided to determine their own fate, how is that wrong? You see, the sad part is this, we often make just of, certain people, and we point to them, at various points in history and say, oh, they failed, so don't venture to go there.
I know.
That's a wrong mindset, a defeatist mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that, at several junctures, it was talking about the Igbos, telling them to simply, what I was able to infer from all he was saying, which pissed me off. Yeah, saying they should just accept the status quo. That's where he was going to, just accept the status quo. You ought not to be complaining. Just take it the way it is. I don't know if he's a newcomer to this channel.
Do you remember when I was like, about you are making it look like, the Igbos are the ones who wants to, you're not addressing those who are telling them to leave and move. And it was like, kind of brush it, but, his opinion. And I respect that, by the way. Oh.
You understand? So, you think the sad part is, you're telling people to accept the status quo. You don't want us to challenge the status quo. He offered no opinions whatsoever, no arguments, no alternative, real arguments whatsoever. If you're saying, let's accept the status quo, okay, what are the points? None whatsoever. I listened to everything he had to say. And it was just wrong, on so many levels. We need to start challenging the status quo.
That's right.
We owe it to ourselves. Yoruba people,
you can't keep it this way. No, it's not right.
On the other side, as black people, as Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you understand history, him coming from Kwara, you ought to understand the history of the Kwara people. It's there for all to see. And he sounds older. I'm in my 30s. He sounds older than I am. He probably, you understand, comes from, an era where at least they had access to history better than I did.
That's right.
He shouldn't be talking like that. It's quite sad. And I also learned that, he's not in the country. So he has some level of confidence wherever he is, and it's quite sad. And as for Mohammed, I don't fault, Mohammed is Mohammed, I fully understand where he's coming from, where he's going.
That Mohammed is Mohammed, Abi. So every time you hear Mohammed, what's mostly your expectations when you're watching? Like sitting down there and you're like, oh my God, Mohammed is on the phone. Do you feel like, I want to hear what he's going to do tonight or something like that? Or what?
I think with Mohammed, personally, I've gone from firstly wanting to punch him in the face to just simply ignoring him and accepting him for who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've realized that punching is simply not going to get them to where you want them to be, which is essentially to meet you halfway, you understand, or exactly to accept your own point of view. Now, lastly, I would want to address Mesoma, the lady, the UME.
Yeah, that young lady of UTME forgery and all that. Mm-hmm. Baba.
Now, I don't want to touch too much on the result itself.
Right.
And there's a reason why. I'd like to go around the circumstances surrounding that event itself.
Okay.
Now, we know, at least and I know, I wrote UME 4 times. I got into the university on the third.
Twice, yeah. Mm-hmm. Baba.
Exactly. Now, I know the pressures that I was surrounded by, and people around me that went to the same school were surrounded by. It was almost like, if you did not get into the university, you would never amount to anything. Now, guess what, I eventually went to that university, graduated. However, the job I later got wasn't that of an actual university graduate, but that of I would say technology.
Spent 4 years for, right? No?
And it did pay me a lot of money. So it was then I realized, and I later got to know that, look, it is just in that part of the world where we believe that, there's so much importance attached to a university degree. It's more about what you can offer and what you do. And so I laugh because recently on Ireland, it was said that the guy who formed that LP, the popular jingle.
Oh, I just forgot his name.
Some people were pointing to him, I think he sells spare parts. And some people were pointing to him and making jokes of him on Ireland, saying that look at him in his workshop. And I was laughing. And I simply re-echoed what you say, that these are the same useless, cowardly idiots that celebrate surprise without actual business.
Exactly.
Now, you see, my point is this, in the US, as with several advanced countries in the world, you can point to people who do blue-collar type of work, and you can say, by actual fact, they can make a living almost equal, in some cases even more than people who have white-collar
fixing gearbox. I saw his video. I saw that image, right? It was fixing gearbox. And if you are fixing gearbox engine or what have you, you will know a lot about engine. That guy will be an engineer in one of those car plants in America. And trust me, if your brother is an engineer in a car plant in America making cars, Baba, we know the deal now.
Of course. So I see no reason why, our youths are being subjected to those pressures. I understand because it's the situation of where we come from.
Wealth without enterprise now. You want to be billionaires.
Yeah.
You have nothing to show.
Exactly. That probably leads us into that narrow thinking, a narrow approach of it's the university or nothing. Whereas some people go to polytechnics and they're extremely skilled at what it is they do.
That's right.
That's a societal thing. That's something we need to touch on. That's something we need to look at. These are my contributions.
I hope that those who have a chance of changing that actually do. Or unfortunately, those who brought us to this state, right, seems to probably have abandoned us there because it's comfortable for them too. But Baba, okay, thank you so much once again. My regards to our people in Houston. Nice one.
Yeah. Nnamdi Kanu needs to be freed. That man has done nothing wrong to the Nigerian state.
I'm even saying that if they genuinely want peace in Eastern Nigeria, release him.
Exactly.
Now, whether behind all of this terrorism, because I know Nnamdi Kanu that I know, come on now, he would never sit on his program and be bragging about attacking Igbos in Igbo land for not obeying what he told them. He's never done that before. He would never do that.
No.
Let him go. Let's see all the criminals behind all of this. If they love you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now, I have another caller on the line. Hello there.
Yes, sir. Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm okay. How are you today?
I am very well. Thanks for asking, sir. So, and you're alive?
Yes, sir. Air Force One again.
Air Force One back again.
Yes, we are back. Everybody should board the plane right now.
Go on.
So actually, when I came back from work this morning, I met you with the Sunday sermon. As a parishioner, I was late, but pardon me, Papa Gio.
I mean, you are pardoned. You should know that because you know one thing about when you miss the service, right? You can easily catch up, and you can even call later and start talking about it like you just about to do. Trust me, you are forgiven.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. All right. So, quick. Also, let me start with Muhammad, my brother Muhammad, because he's still our brother. I didn't have anything against him, but I think the thing is, which is going to let me talk about my first point. So the narratives about a long issue, okay? Because I discussed this thing recently with my wife, senior sister, husband, who was a Muslim. So, and according to the narrative, if he gave me, it negates what I heard before about the Apoja movies. You remember the Apoja movie and all those Apoja narratives?
Apoja and all those. I know.
Yeah. So what he said that they kind of negate that, contradict. So I was kind of from that point I started thinking about this thing Yoruba that they said. Ipe aroba ni baba itan. So baba itan mamba roba. Ipe aroba eno is also baba itan. But I began to think about that phrase. I don't think it's quite valid. The validity of aroba has a lot of key legs. I don't understand. I don't know if anybody has been thinking about that in recent time. Because there has been a series of narratives about that alone thing. And when you hear the word alone, it's a Yoruba name.
It is Yoruba word, of course.
Alone. Now, what happened to me, about that case, the case of that woman who worship Oshun, who all these people who are Muslim, clerics went to her house to warn her not to practice a religion.
If she loves herself and her children, they don't want her to. Let me show you something.
Yes.
Sir. Let me show you something. At least,
yes.
Air Force One, you understand Yoruba. So
yes, sir.
Listen to this. Let's sing together.
Yes, sir.
gbèdè lọ́rin sóhun làwa ń wí. ẹ má gbèdè lọ́rin sóhun làwa ń wí. àwa ò pé kẹ́lẹ́bọ máa ṣẹbọ. àwa ò pé kọ́lọ́sùn máa sọ̀sùn. ẹ má gbèdè lọ́rin sóhun làwa ń wí. kẹ́lẹ́bọ máa ṣẹbọ.
Kọ́lọ́sùn máa sọ̀sùn, ẹ má gbèdé lọ́rin sóhun làwa ń wí. You know wetin remain, Baba? Now that bed sheet remain.
Yes, sir.
That bed sheet now. Those are supposed to be Yoruba. They are speaking Yoruba.
Yes, sir.
But they are like,
yes, sir.
ẹ má gbèdé lọ́rin sóhun làwa ń wí. In Yoruba, Baba, reality.
Yes, sir. So the point here is that when I saw the video earlier before you even brought this matter up this morning, I saw those people. These are elderly people. These are the people Yoruba Yoruba fathers who are supposed to be giving the right narratives to their kids. Okay, that this is the right thing to do. And these people, all these clerics that went there that day, when I saw that video, I was disappointed. I was dejected, angry, to the point that of recent I bought few lands in that alone. I had to be telling that brother of mine, who is husband to my wife, senior sister, that I hope I didn't make a mistake. Maybe I'm going to have to sell this land because of this thing I watched about this religion, fanatics or fanatism, whatever shit they call it. But the point here is that going back to Muhammad case, it is the narrative they fed him. And I don't know, maybe with all due respect to his parents, maybe they know the right narratives or not, or maybe they're also relaying the same thing they fed them.
Muhammad said his dad usually correct him when he's unconsciously says Yoruba. It's like me saying, my name is Muhammad Begore. I'm a Yoruba, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a Yoruba. And your papa was like, stop saying that in public, like, you are not Yoruba. Okay. So that's why I asked him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How does that make him feel? And he said it's not good. And there are people in that his own shoes that feel same too.
Yeah, because they do not want him to know. That's so, it's kind of tricky, like sketchy. Because if his father is telling him that they don't want him to know the truth. Maybe they know the truth, but they don't want him to know the truth. I don't know. It's either way, or personal, or perhaps they themselves, they didn't even know the real truth. Now, my last point is this. What is the issue between Islam as a religion and the traditional worshiper in Nigeria? What is the issue? Why is it that Islam is always, on the neck, standing toe to toe with Ifa worshippers, traditional worshippers? Why is it? Why can't they just leave them alone? Leave Ifa worshippers alone, Oshun worshippers alone, go whatever worshippers alone, and do your Islamic religion now.
Exactly.
How many times have you seen any Christian?
People, Air Force One, right? I was like, Christians will say, when the Christians want to convert and then they want to preach, they'll be like, stop going to Babalawo, Eye Shogun, Eye Gbebo, Ọlọ́run ọ̀nà iye, ọ̀nà yìí nìkan lọ́nà iye. Àwọn èṣù tẹ́ kó síta, kìíní kan, all these things you are worshiping, they are not going to lead you to heaven. Only one way. Then you will see the Muslims. And they will preaching the same.
They will do the same thing.
But you will never see Babalawo or Mama Lawo, Brother Lawo, Uncle Lawo, and the rest of these people. You will never see them come out and say, Emma Lo Churchy, Emma Kirumo. We are doing crusade. We've never seen that. So it bothers them to ask questions and say, hello, why do you have to push Yoruba tradition to the back and make it what you are making it? Like, why?
And if you also remember, this is our indigenous religion that we had prior to these foreigner invaders. Okay, this is our indigenous religion prior to all these foreign invaders, including Christianity and Islam. Okay, I was born into Catholic. As a young man being born into any family, I was born into Catholic. I practiced Catholic till 24 years of age when I came to the United States. And when I got in here, I was still going there until I joined Pentecostal.
And you choose
and when I joined Pentecostal, now
this is Yoruba thing,
no,
right? Yorubas will know that you have a choice to go and make and choose your own thing if you want. Okay, nobody's going to disown you for it. But when we are now having a Yoruba, when they say, you now come on, Baba, I'll take another one there. First one.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. You and I can continue all tonight, right? But a lot of people will just be like, time is going, and it is my fault because I'm trying to converse, have a chat around it, okay? Meanwhile, I have another caller here. Osita, is that
one
you?
Name more.
One name.
One name the number.
How you doing, Baba?
You in short, let me not use the word, but you are fantastic.
Thank you.
You are elaborating.
Osita.
You are everything about you is groundbreaking.
Thank you.
Trust me.
Thank you. You never cease to remind me anyway, so thank you.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say was the last time somebody called again, I was talking about me. I'm so sorry. I didn't insult him. The only thing I said that is most important is that in Nigeria, as we all are today, nobody should consider themselves as minority. We are Nigerians. That was the context of what I said. And I said again, concerning the president of Rwanda, that he has done well for Africa, not even for Rwanda. He has stood up against them. He was one of the persons that said, enough of taking money from this Western world, enough of taking foreign loans. That when you take their loans, you take their money, how do you expect them not to come to you, to bamboozle you to a corner, to do their bidding?
That's right.
In that country, we have they have a single tenure of 7 years. They wrote their constitution, they followed their constitution. And as of today, it's working for them. So that was the reason I said, do not follow these outsiders to label the man a dictator, because he doesn't even have anything that looks like dictatorship in him. Because when you go to that country, I've been there. I know what he did in that country. I am not saying that, I am reading. When you want to talk about their politics, they tell you, please don't talk about the politics. Don't divide them.
It's actually
that is the most important thing.
To identify them by their tribe in Rwanda.
So nobody, so I have never attacked anybody. I was only just talking about, just elaborating on what, on how we have to think. If you look at it, the majority, the people that said they are the majority, the major, like the way they quote, is the Northerners. But believe me, they are suffering more than any other part of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So why are we talking about majority and why are we talking about minority? That is just my take. So I cleared my ears on that one. I don't want to go back to it anymore.
Well,
now,
let's see which other controversy you're going to start tonight.
I'm not a controversial person. I only try to elaborate.
Well, people always kind of love to remind and then reply you, especially when they listen to your tone on things. You don't know that.
Yeah, I know. I read their comments.
Great.
Then what I want to talk about is the issue of Nnamdi Kanu.
Please.
And I will call it out if other people are not calling out on Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa grew under the tutelage of Nnamdi Kanu's teaching, like every one of us.
Right.
I told you, it was difficult for me to embrace Nnamdi Kanu until I started listening to you, I started reasoning. So, Simon Ekpa, I do not know his ideology. I do not know what he believes on. But what I am trying to say here is, his ideology by wanting the freedom of Biafra might be right. But the way you are going about it is totally wrong.
Right.
You cannot continue to kill your people directly or indirectly. Why I said indirectly is you are against the status quo, right? That the I call them oligarch, the oligarch in the eastern part, they are milking the people. And you know, the moment you pronounce this your seat at home and you say, oh, Ipo, Ewon, if you don't know the meaning of that, is that if you come out, you die. That is the meaning of the word he uses. Ipo, Ewon, which is you come out, you die. The moment you use that particular phrase, that language, what happens? What they do is that they send their militias. All the politicians in Nigeria have their own separate militias, including the governors. They will send down their militias, and their militias will cause wreckage, and they will say that, oh,
they will blame it on
is
it.
IPOB. Then at the end of the day, those people you were against, that they are milking your people, you will now give them the audacity to eat the money. The whole money that they send, they generate. They are not going to tell you that, oh, that this whole money, we use it as for security, vote. So why don't you, I am speaking to him now, so why don't you think about this simple process and know that you are not helping this struggle. Rather, you are inflicting injuries on your people. Had it been you brought out the militias and you say your militias wants to fight the government directly, I will support you. But if you are doing this thing at the end of the day, it is the politicians that are raking in the money. It makes no sense. That is not the preaching of Nnamdi Kanu. That is not. And that is not the way to get this freedom. I read in one Mandela's book, one Buthelezi told him that, oh, let us kill these white people, let us kill. He told them that we are not going to do that. Because if we do that, they are all going to kill all of us in a twinkle of an eye. Then who will fight for the freedom? That is not the way to go about it. I watched that video because it takes the hand of an authority to kill people like that, and they will record it and send it out. Militias, somebody who is fighting for freedom is not going to do that. But it takes the mind of the person that has the authority. So it's the authority of the land that did that thing and send it out so that they will say, oh, it is IPOB that is doing all these things. It is never IPOB. And Simon Ekpa, I used to watch your program before, but I stopped at a particular time. You are not helping us. You are not helping us. You are creating more problem for us. You cannot cause a chaos whereby I will lose my father, I will lose my mother, I will lose my brothers and sisters, and you think you are helping me. You are not helping anybody. That is not the way to do, because there is always a better way of doing this thing. If we are doing sit at home, for example, and sit at home has not yielded any progress, why don't we strategize?
That's right.
That is the meaning of life. That is the meaning. Don't think that you are always correct. Listen to other people. Then you can draw inspiration and draw ideas from other people's ideas. So don't think you are right. You might not be right all the time. Please, I am asking you, drop this nonsense that you are doing. Let us approach this thing, get this man out of their dungeon, and I believe that because this man, Nnamdi Kanu, has been prepared for such a time as this, we will handle it the way we know we are going to handle it better. Thank you very much, my brother.
Osita, thank you very much. Let me take another one. My time is coming gradually to an end. Again, another caller on the line. Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Mayegun.
Sir.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for calling in, please.
Yes. So I just want to add my contribution. Simon Ekpa is not the problem. In fact, if you take away Simon Ekpa from the struggle,
right,
these men are ready to see Nnamdi Kanu die in prison. What he's asking for is simple. We are tired of the system. The Igbo race is not a mediocre race. We have greatness ahead of us. And we've been in Nigeria, we've contributed. In fact, our national team, some of our best moments was when we worked together as a country and we contributed positively to build this nation. But since they don't want us, we will have to go.
That's right.
So what Simon Ekpa is asking is simple. Release our leader. He has done nothing wrong, and give us referendum. Let the people decide. This is a critical time for our future. Whatever we do today will affect the generation in the next 20,000 years from now. This is the opportunity we have. When we die, we cannot come back and correct this.
And correct anymore.
Take Simon Ekpa away from this struggle. Nobody will say anything about Nnamdi Kanu. When he said we shouldn't participate in the election, he made a valid point, because what we did there was to validate the slavery. If everybody had, if everybody had agreed and said, no, we want referendum, push for referendum instead, right? It would have been a different story. But we went to participate in a process that we know was going to be fraudulent. So for how long are we going to continue? Please, Simon Ekpa is not the problem. His demands are clear. Release our leader and also give us referendum. Simple.
Yeah, simple. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thanks for calling in as well. So let's have another caller. We still have a bit of a time on our side. And you can call in too. Do you get that? And keep it clean. Okay. I have another caller on the line. Hello there.
Good evening, Mr. Mayegun.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. This is Don Gada online.
Don Gada again. How you doing, Baba?
I'm very well. How is your family?
Well, we are here. Thank God. Thanks for asking. Please.
That's nice. First of all, I want to appreciate you for your program earlier today. You know, even though that I am Igbo, it is so much important to educate people on how and where their lineage, their generation comes from, their ancestors, their tradition. You know, one thing we fail to understand as human is that the culture, which we refer as tradition, is also a religion.
It is.
This is the religion we have been practicing before the Westerners came in to colonize us. But in the process of doing that, in the process of trying to educate them, I want you to know one thing also. It will be very, very difficult for you to educate people on that, because people have grown on ignorant. People have grown believing that Islam and Christian, mostly in Nigeria and Africa at large.
Where have you?
Thank you. Now, another reason why it will be a waste of time is that wherever religion is dominant, politicians use them as a tool to achieve whatever goals they have or they are pursuing. That is why you see politicians, whenever there is an election, they start going to mosque, going to churches. And if you go through the history of if you go through the history of religion, you will find out that Catholic, which was mostly the origin of Christianity, was a political organization. They used to rule Rome, Italy, Germany, and all that before they turn it into religion permanently. Secondly, let me come to the issue of hand. And before I leave that issue, I'm pleading with you, if you could be bringing out, even though it is 1 hour in a day, in a week, to teach your people about that. It is very, very important. It is going to liberate, if not many of them, but at least few of them. And with that, journey of liberating people is the most difficult journey. That is why people are
thankless one too.
Thank you. That is why people are surprised with the achievement of Nnamdi Kanu, with the way he managed to achieve and win the people's hearts within the space of 2, 3, 4 years. And he could be able to do so much with the truth. You understand? So let me come to the issue at hand now. I told you one certain time, maybe it was the second time I called you, that the issue, Simon Ekpa has been compromised. During the time of Jesus, according to their Bible, who sold Jesus? It was Judas. Who betrayed him? It was Peter. These two people were his closest disciples, and I know it is on record. It will be on, my call is going to be on record. I want you to mark today's date. You will go back today whenever, if Nnamdi Kanu will be released, you will see in record, he doesn't talk much. He talks with fact. Simon Ekpa is amongst the people that betrayed him. They were able, the government was able to...
Don't gather. What I'm trying to kind of do is not for us to, point our fingers convincingly when we are trying to kind of encourage ourselves to say, you know what, can we cut down this, this madness? But
yeah,
even though I don't really wish to interrupt you to present, but I just don't think we should keep hammering on this blame game and all that. But please,
I understand you where you are coming from. Like I said
choose to
earlier,
be diplomatic about it myself because my message is just to see how people can reason. All right.
Yeah, you are right. You are right.
I can't tell you how to do it, but I wish you can be. You know what I mean? But please,
you're right.
Go on.
I'm not directly accusing him. I said we should keep today's date and wait till if the can will be released. You will hear the truth that he is among. I'm not saying that he's among. It will come directly from the mouth of the
man himself.
Nnamdi Kanu. And I think and I believe, if you remember what I told you the last time I called about Asari Dokubo, how he was bought.
I remember that one.
Everything is being reviewed now. I want to tell you something. Before this issue of killing this and that in Igbo state, in Igbo land, have you ever imagined the number of guns that is circulating in that land? Have you ever asked how manage those guns, AK-47, AK-49, those guns are able to penetrate that city? Because we don't used to have those guns in that city. We don't have borders to import guns. If we are able to access guns, it must either come from the north or the southwest.
Or southwest, yeah, that's true.
Do you get my point? So I told you last time that those mercenaries who are doing this fight in the southeast were recruited separately from the Asari Dokobodem and people the government has been compromised with. And why I mentioned Simon in particular, which made me to believe that he was among those who betrayed Nnamdi Kanu is this. Nnamdi Kanu did not do anything. He never armed anybody to kill in Igbo land, to cause any mayhem in Igbo land. But he was so much at the mouth of every political leader in Nigeria, including the lowest person as low as local government chairmen and councillors in Nigeria, to get him and know what.
Even northern Nigeria, where you won't believe that his name is mentioned, there is known and his name is all over their mouth. You're right. And he never shot a gun to achieve that.
Now he has been apprehended and detained. Now the crisis has escalated, and the person who is directly, physically, approachly doing everything live, that every evidence is there that he's directing people to kill others in Igbo land is there. Nobody, not even a local government chairman, has ever mentioned of extraditing Simon Ekpa. Not even anybody from even our own political leaders in Igbo land has ever mentioned of how to arrest Simon Ekpa or bringing him to book. You see why I just pointed that accusing finger at him. if you mentioned so many times,
maybe we are all looking in the wrong side. It could just be a guy that is speaking and then taking the moment to do what he's doing when he's actually not with any substance per se. Could it be that?
Well,
could it also be that? Like, he didn't do it.
Well, whatever his wishes are.
Don't gather. Let's you and I, like you said from the beginning, right? Let us wait for the time that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be out. Personally, right? Personally, I kind of aligning with you in this sense is that I believe that if Nnamdi Kanu, when Nnamdi Kanu is released, or whenever he is released, right, we will see those who said they are doing this because of him. All right. If they would then have to like queue behind him when he says stop. So whoever doesn't stop at that time, then we can easily tell, where they actually belong. I want him out. And I hope that those who are doing this understand the damages they are doing towards this, letting him out or not. They are not helping.
Now I want to touch on issue of you wanting Nnamdi Kanu out. I have always watched you said you want him out. You wish Tinubu would not inherit Buhari's problem by.
I'm not even begging him to release him. I'm saying they should follow their own courts, follow their own law, and let him go. Yeah.
Now I want to tell you this. Do you think Northerners would like Nnamdi Kanu to be out? There has been a fight. There has been killings. There has been mayhems going on in the northern Nigeria, the northern part of Nigeria for the past. It has started since the creation of Nigeria, but it became obvious after 2009 when Boko Haram emerges. The killing, the kidnapping, everything that was going on there. They think that the Southeasterners were happy over that. Now the same thing is Southeast. There is no way they are going to want it to end. They want to see it escalate. Do you understand my point now?
I do.
They want
Tinubu could stop all of that and put an end to it. Tinubu also needs the goodwill of the people, remember? And he will do anything to win that.
That is sure.
Right?
What you will ask is, what was his agreement? You mentioned in your program earlier today that they want to establish Sharia court in Lagos. Let me add. Go back to your YouTube. You will also see where I told you one certain time when I called that these people, when they want to achieve something, they use the persons from that region, from South, to establish their whatever they want to achieve. Then when their own government will come in, they will make it official so that whenever the case come up, they will be like, we didn't start it. Your people. I've made this to you one certain time in a call, but if you go back to your YouTube, you understand? So Tinubu, what was their agreement? What was the written agreement? Because no matter how you try to see it, there was a written agreement between him and the Northerners. And he's going to keep to that. You understand? And let me tell you this. Fulanis, there has never been in the history of Nigeria that we have Fulanis as an indigenous of Nigeria. Before and after creation of Nigeria, Fulanis came outside.
Until 1807 or so, there's nothing called Fulani in any part of Nigeria, even though Nigeria doesn't exist until, well, you know what I mean? But even all this history until 1807 or 1847 or thereabout, that's the first time they ventured. And then they invaded. And then they stayed back. And they became part of this history.
Do you know that as we speak right now, there are still large immigration of Fulanis from other African countries into Nigeria? Do you know that?
So I do.
So how do you think that their journey to dominate, to be able to acquire land? Nigeria has so much wealth, and they have. You can come from Niger, what do they call it, Algeria, and become a governor in Nigeria tomorrow. Nobody will question you. Nobody will ask you.
It is easier for somebody from Niger Republic to be president of Nigeria for me to become a local government chairman, even though I'm from Ijebu.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And for them having that opportunity for a country as wealthy as Nigeria is, they are not going to give it up early. But the last thing I want to say here is this. Nigeria has been radicalized to the extent that going back to fix things is not going to happen again. It can never happen. It either lead to war, coup d'etat, or separation. And these three things must come to pass. Nigeria has been radicalized. Check Southwest, check Southeast, check the North.
Almost the same.
There's no peace. But the last thing I want to say is this.
Okay. I'll make it last. Go on.
Yeah, this is the last thing. Those ignorant leaders, our governors from the Southeast, our senators, our councillors, maybe one of them or two of them will listen to this program and spread the news. They should know this and know it today. There is a saying in my place that says that wherever you lay your mat is where you are going to face to sleep. Do you understand that phrase? Why I say this is this. They have empowered so many Igbo youths with guns, and Igbos are not the people you empower with guns and turn back because they don't stop whatever they start until they finish it. There will be the governor of Enugu State that is establishing security
they
in
are
Enugu.
giving all these young people guns, so they are calling them people who are going to help them stop a sit at home and all of them. Like, you are not helping. This is not how to go about it. But again,
thank you. No, I haven't. I will complete now. I'm still on the point. Didn't you question about those who has been those securities established in the South Imo State and Anambra State? What was the achievement? There will be a time whereby they will not be able to, after ruling, they will not be able to stay in that city, Enugu, Anambra, and Imo State. And they should know this. This is the most important one. Igbos are everywhere. When you get to that point, when anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu, their children will be haunted. Their family will be haunted. Whether they take them to US, to Canada, everywhere, there will be no peace for any of us. That is my contribution to
bless you, Don Gada. I wish we ended it on a more friendlier note, but if I say this note, I mean this spot where you handed it is another one that people will be like,
I'm angry.
Don Gada, you should have a good night. Okay, thanks so much for being part of this again. All right, stay safe, Baba. Now this is where I'm going to draw the curtains, everyone. I know a lot of you are currently dialing the number. Oh my God, I'm going to call in. I need to say something. Listen, one thing about Mayegun's diary political is this. If you're unable to say anything by calling in today, as much as this is hotting up right now, trust me, you can always still speak on this same topic, even when we are not even talking about it anymore. You have the chance of expressing yourself. That's what we do. And thank you, all of you, every one of us, for tonight. I'm going to see you again. So until then, remember, you can still like this broadcast, share it, and I'll see you again. Good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Mayegun Diary politico. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun Diary Ayíbi #1. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun Diary. súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé. Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Presido bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń gba rìbá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní má ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́hún ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ fòyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì í o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.